Thanks, welcome. So I'm Rachel, I work at JetBrains, I do advocacy and software stuff there, and today we're going to talk about dark patterns in software, and how software, not just software though, how in the real world you can be manipulated by various things like software or other forms of architecture. So usually when people see what is actually a dark pattern or some manipulation, they often just go, oh, design, just bad design. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes it is. I have an example of that in here. But sometimes it's just deceptive design. Sometimes that wasn't the intent. Sometimes a web team is following the lead of someone else who did something deceptive, and it kind of becomes mainstream at some point. So there's oops design, and then there's actual deceptive practices that are actually pretty prevalent out there that we might want to watch. So just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you. Someone is. Right? So why? Like if you're a dev, why do you care? Well, do you care about your products? Do you? You might not be building. I don't actually build UXs. I am a back-end person. But I do like the interesting aspect of people as well. Right? Software is actually the easy thing. Right? It's building it for people. That's the hard thing. And this is how that expresses itself in our industry. So if we want to build better products, but also protect ourselves from shady people, right? Because we are responsible for our software, ultimately, that we create and put out there. So dark patterns are generally user interface choices, and that interface might be online or in person. And it's steering, coercing, deceiving. You didn't have full information to make a choice. So people are stealthily robbing us of choice. There is a massive undertaking online, and there's a tiny link at the bottom, and I have these slides out online on GitHub. There was the Dark Patterns at Scale research. It was a collaboration between a bunch of like Princeton, University of PA, a couple other universities that went into this, and they looked at 11,000 shopping sites, 11,000 of the most popular, and they found almost all of them. Anywhere you shop online has a dark pattern. So stuff is out there, and it's coming for us. They are effective. You can fool a lot of people, and especially people who aren't tech savvy in the technology space. You might not be able to fool them in their own expertise, but if you present a crafted UI, you may be able to fool some people. But in the long run, you're doing the company you work for, if you're building this for a company or yourself, a disservice, because people do catch on, and there's a long tail and a hook on it in which customer service and other requests and other costly business operations happen because of a dark pattern in your website. We know that once somebody buys the product, that might not be the end. They might return it. Turns out that returns go up later, right, when we implement dark patterns. So I'm actually here to tell you not to implement these and to help protect ourselves. Yeah, Dylan was like, yeah, tell them the evil stuff. Like, oh, okay. Yes, but I'm going to tell you not to do it, right, because it does come back to bite you. So product returns, bad word of mouth. Do you want people bad-mouthing your website? Amazon doesn't care. All right? So I'm going to keep bad-mouthing them. So, people eventually leave and get mad. So it does cost you. Harry Brignall did an entire talk on the exact specifics of how this structure of cost works. He has an hour talk on this that's publicly available. And there should be a little link on one of these slides sending you to that. And he says, like the whole chain, once you employ a dark pattern, there's a chain of effects that happen that can cost you money. Now, you'll catch some of the people. Not everyone's going to return the product or have a bad, complain or make it known that they had a bad experience, but enough will to notice it somewhere. But the connection unless you are aware of dark patterns, might not be evident in business, especially with non-tech people on the accounting side. Here's how prevalent they are, right? Even on Australia, 83% have lost money. Anybody know of anyone who got scammed online, got a phishing attempt, or bought stuff? My father-in-law subscribed to some services online and didn't realize it was one of those, you sign up for a trial, but they're just going to keep taking your money. So did my dad. I could, probably 10 people in my family did stuff like this. You're probably the tech support person for your friends and family, right? And you might be dealing with this right now, right? I accidentally bought this, or I bought this TV, and now there's like $400 on my credit card for this warranty I didn't want. What happened there? That kind of stuff. So it's everywhere. The link at the bottom tells us, that's the one for Brignall, how dark patterns can cost you, right? So it can actually cost money. So in this case, right, the companies are making money, but individuals are losing money. And a lot of folks, maybe a lot more than you think, if you're a person who checks your credit card statements, bank statements at the end of the month, you might be surprised at how many people don't. And tiny amounts, 10 euros here, 5 there, actually sneak by. And you do that enough, and you will get some revenue from it. This is not the most ethical way to get your revenue. Okay? So you've seen them. Anyone book a flight? Who flew here? You've probably experienced this. EasyJet. You are the worst. Right? Anyone who's used EasyJet has seen dark patterns. They were so bad, several countries sued them, and they had to change. Right? That's how bad they were. They're awful. Every flight is like 47 euros. Then you click to start purchasing it, and they nickel and dime you to death. Like, here's this upcharge and that one. And then they'll try to, with their UI, force you to do upsells. Not anymore, because they got sued, and the government said you can't. Anyone ever try to cancel Amazon Prime? How long did it take? It was no easy thing, right? They purposefully buried it, and everyone knows it, right? And they still keep it there because they're Amazon, and they're just being a dick. So they are prevalent, right? Here's some of the tactics that they use, right? Trick questions, sneaking, the basket sneaking, right? You ever put something in a basket, and you're like, what the hell? Why is there other stuff in here, right? That's a dark pattern. Don't do that. Privacy suckering, or with the Z for Mark Zuckerberg, privacy zuckering, because he does it. Facebook did it, right? Telling you we're, maybe not going to use your contacts. We totally are, right? Price, not allowing you to compare prices or making it presented in such a way that it's not a real comparison. Misdirecting your attention, hidden costs. Straight up bait and switches, which is flat out illegal in a lot of countries, but that happens a lot, and other tricks. So there's a whole bunch. Nagging is another one. False hierarchies. There's all kind of ways to build a workflow to take users and force them into things. But the thing is, as the user goes through it, anxiety builds, they don't like it, and they're not having a good experience. So if it's important to your team that people have a good experience, you don't want to do this, right? Here is the one weird trick. This is the OG dark pattern on the web, right? Clickbait titles are one of the first and most mature, well-known dark pattern. And how many times has that crazy aunt or uncle clicked on a clickbait title and then sends it to the whole family? Top emergency, right? Because of some weird rumor online or something. All right, so that happens a lot. Or they got a phishing, right? Phishing is also with this. Now, certain things about dark patterns, when you employ them as well, Amazon found this out. Once it becomes kind of permeated out there and other people pick it up and copy you, people start to recognize oh, this is a shady thing. Now a lot of people could recognize clickbait. Which, yay for fact-checking at least, I guess, being able to recognize some of this. But there's still enough people who don't. And now people are, fishers and what are working with a lower key clickbaity, right? And making it even more sneaky so it's not so obvious. So it's always a catch-up game with the scammers. This is in Dutch, but you may have seen this before, where like press allow to verify you're not a robot, but that is the allow notifications, block notifications. Is there anyone in here who wants notifications on a website? 2 people. Is it your own website? But that's not supposed to be a messaging thing, right? I mean, you're supposed to be talking to people. Like random website wants no, go pound sand, right? No. So, and here's a little link to this, right? I saw this, I was like, this is just enraging. You could click anywhere else, it'll go away, but you know the non-technical person is, oh no, I have to click allow. And they do, and then they get all these notifications, and then they call you to fix it, right? Here's some more, is what Hunger Games, right? What is this? They're trying to, right? You got to buy now, act fast. Remember those old commercials? Act fast, going soon. It's that, but online, right? So like what they want us to do, fight? Yeah, that's what they want. They want you to go in there and get it. They have more than one in there. They're lying. Same thing, Etsy, liar, right? I don't believe half of these when I see them. It might be true, but if they're already doing this, I don't believe them, right? Here's this, Adobe. If you cancel, this is a different tactic. If you try to cancel early, it costs more than if you just let it run out. That's another one. Here is, they do it in France. La redite, or however you pronounce it. I'm not French, can't pronounce that. So you see the big bar. Okay, yeah, 10% off. They make sure you see that. And this. Here's where your eyes go to next. Oh, a black apply now. Oh, credit, only credit. No. Oh, there it is. There's the option I really wanted. So you'll notice this. They're going to yell something on one part of the page, but what you really want is not that. It's quietly down somewhere else. And that's what they're doing, right? So they want you to do credit. Okay, like if I needed it, but maybe you don't, and that should not be the default, right? Skype, right? There's no way to say no. The no way to say no, taking away consent, right? Bad. Another one, Sato.com. If you look at this, right, cookies, this happens a lot in the land of cookies, right? They'll show government. They made us do this little cookie pop-up, we'll show them. Right, so here, we use cookies strictly, perf, cooperation. Okay, select all. What? Nope, that's what you really want. But it's over there. Not here, where we want you to look. All right? Another one, like this black and white kind of theme and whatnot, right? Reject all, but they're drawing you down, to the accept, right? Or another one up here, just in case. It's a little bit more prominent than here. We do not want you to click that. We want to track all your info. We want that data. It's gold, right? So if data is important to you, right, these cookie things are probably driving you up the wall, right? Here's one that's called confirm shaming. One of my friends said, I have noticed this thing where my apps and websites are making me feel bad, like I'm a bad person because I don't want to go along. And I really have these bad feelings. You're not the only one. It is made to do that. So here, 15% off? Nope, I don't want to save money. Like, they're jacking with your identity. Like, who does not want to save money as a general rule? And you? Is it you? Okay. You don't want to? You're my husband. Come on, you can't be like that. We shared a checkbook, man. Or this, like, no thanks. I like full price, right? These ones, this is my favorite. I don't want to be healthier. No, I know, I do probably know more about gardening, but I don't want to be healthier, right? They're outright shaming you, right? right? No, I had a mom. That's good enough there, right? So that's some of the online stuff. In the physical world, well, also booking.com, there's a thing. You ever the first time you go into IKEA or a new mall and you get blasted with all of the things? Anyone ever go to Mall of America? Wow, it's like America, but in a giant circus tent. Imagine that. Yeah. So the Gruen effect is when you go into a space and you're overwhelmed, right? It feels like you're getting hit with tomatoes, but it's just blingity stuff and lights and music and smells, and it's on purpose. It's to overwhelm you, to break you down, so you'll just hand over your cash with other dark patterns along the store. Shopping malls and grocery stores are purposefully architected so you spend money, right? Every store does this, and they've had psychologists for decades working on exactly how to make people spend money. So we have that in the physical world. Booking.com does it perfectly online. But you may have noticed, like IKEA does this. The grocery store does this as well. Casinos do it. Casinos purposefully have no windows, no clocks, so you don't know what time it is. You can't tell if it's light or dark, and they make it you ever go in one and you're like, how do I get out? That's on purpose, right? Casino designers, also psychologists that do this, or people that know how to work with this, right? So IKEA also, there's shortcuts to get through IKEA. They make sure you can't see them. It's hard to find them, right? You got to kind of know the shortcut in your local IKEA. And they also have that restaurant with the Swedish meatballs that everybody loves. And, you're going to take a break there and eat some food, get recharged, and go back out and spend money. It's architected to literally leading you along the path through IKEA, right? Follow the yellow brick IKEA arrows. Buy that furniture. Grocery store. I got to work for an American company like Wise potato chips. Lay's always beat them out. But if you know like Lay's potato chips or Wise in the US, I worked for them for a while. And we actually did some of the algorithms for these shelves and whatnot. And it is fierce competition to get your product on a shelf. You have to actually pay the grocery stores to put your product somewhere. And they pay to put it at eye level, the stuff for adult average height eye level, and the kiddie stuff, cereals, at the kiddie eye level. And you probably already know about at the checkout, the gum and the candy, right? And it's basically designed to get the kid to go, Mommy, give me the candy. Mommy, the whole way through the store. Anyone have kids that do that? It's not your kid. It's the store, right? Also a little bit the kids. But it's mostly the store is provoking them to do that. Also, things like the toys and whatnot. But you'll notice that bread, flowers, and crisp, fresh produce is always right up front. Fresh nature, nice smells greet you. And the important stuff that you need, like toilet paper, you have to walk past the goodies and the crap you don't need. It's all on purpose. All right? So virtual or in real life, right? Who's more paranoid now than they were 10 minutes ago? Right. I'd like to think this is not a dark pattern because it's Heathrow. I think it's bad design in this case. But look at this. You can pay online or by phone later. Yeah, no, nobody's going to pay later. Everyone's going to forget. Not everyone, literally, but a significant amount of people are going to forget. I feel like this was kind of airport government ineptitude in this case, but it has the same effect, right? In this case, it's bad design. So why do all these things happen, right? Well, there are these psychological patterns. And people are, like, as developers, we love patterns. People also you're a walking bunch of patterns, all of us, right? If we didn't have patterns, we actually wouldn't be able to function in daily life. If we didn't have these patterns, common human patterns and your own individual patterns. So there are principles behind manipulative patterns. First one starts with heuristics and the fact that we actually run on autopilot. If you consider, for most of humanity's time here on Earth, we were evolving, and we didn't have these fine modern things we have now. Basically, we had to watch, like, am I going to be eaten? And if so, I need to get out of here. So the heuristic is basically this pattern of, I see a thing, I run, right? It's an autopilot response. You see food, eat it. But you see food that you know is bad, you stay away, right? There's a lot of automatic responses. So heuristics are beneficial patterns that often run on an autopilot. But sometimes they can be an anti-pattern, or they can be hijacked. And that's what they're doing. They're hijacking human heuristics and patterns of general behavior, such as the confirm shaming. No, I don't want to be healthier. Like, it's really hard to click that for a lot of people, right? And, until you realize they're just jacking with you, right? But for a lot of people, they actually feel something, and they're like, it's actually hard to click. And that's hijacking the autopilot heuristic, right? That we have. That ties in with biases. And usually when people hear bias, they just simply think politics, left, right. That is like the least of the biases, right? Biases are things like whether or not you spot these patterns, or how these patterns might lend you to behave in a situation. Like, how hard is it to click? No, I'll prefer being unhealthy, we're fine, just because you don't want that newsletter. It's that kind of stuff. It's not so much, it's more subconscious than it is conscious. For example, if you read it like that, that's bias. All right? And you did. Unless you saw it before. And how this works, this behavioral psychologist, Robert Cialdini, came out with this book called Influence, the Science of Persuasion, and exactly what's going on here. And he said, what happens is there's this effect he calls click-whir. He says, people are like this little car. And other people who know this kind of go up to them and go, click-whir, right? They turn that button, turn the knob, press a button, and off you go. You ever hear that phrase, getting your buttons pushed? Pushing someone's buttons. That's what it is, right? And that's what these dark patterns are meant to do. Right? Pickpockets know this. Who knows where the most pickpockets are in the world? So if you're thinking like, oh, London, Paris, no, it's not a city. It's under a sign that says, beware of pickpockets. You know why? Yeah, you do. There's a sign and somebody goes, beware of pickpockets. Yeah, okay. I just told them where my phone is, wallet, because people do the tap. Yep, pickpockets got my stuff, I'm good. Pickpockets saw you do that. They hang around by those signs. They know that sign causes a click-whir effect. It was unintended. The sign meant to do the other thing. Bad design, right? So it does cause that effect, and many of these hijacks in the digital world do too. Right? So here's this book I suggest, just for life, tech and everything, this is a great book. Shows 7 principles of why people tend to behave in these patterns. Right? They want to be liked, or they feel an authority, or scarcity. You see that? Only one left in the basket. You better check that out now. Right? And I gotta have it. Back in a couple decades ago, there's this holiday, not a holiday, like Black Friday in the US, I think most people have heard of this, right? Where Americans go nuts and they go shopping, like nutty shopping for a day. The scarcity principle was so bad that at one time these little dolls were very popular in the US. They were called Cabbage Patch dolls. And people were actually fighting over them because other people would reserve them and cause this click-whir effect in the store. America. Hey, nobody was getting shot then, so there's that. So a lot of this ties into, it's not all black and white. There's a little bit of gray in here too, right? Like I said, sometimes it is bad design. A lot of the times it's not. And sometimes people do it, in our industry especially, do it because the others are doing it. We really do have a copycat industry, right? That does happen. So one of the things is the framing effect. It's not necessarily what you do or what you say, but how you do or say it. And that's framing, right? So you might, also all of these things, you think of this framing, this works not just in the web, right? For positive or negative, but also with people. How you frame something matters. So when you're in that team meeting, you want to actually convince the boss or your team, like, hey, I think this feature is the thing we need. Consider some of these principles like framing. Here's one example. Oh, Mom, bad. Why are you doing? Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. How are you going to frame that feature, right? The right, the left or the right? Right, you know which one you want to present to the team, right? I think. What is your team like? Okay, we'll move on. Or this, you've seen all these, right? Who goes, yay, 15% fat? You've seen this before. Or this one, 90-10, like, look, I get it, 90-10, but I don't want to hear the 10 one coming out of my doctor's mouth. Like, no, I want to hear the 90% one coming out of my doctor's mouth. Or here's this, people will take the $120 off significantly more. They'll take that option more than the other one. Yeah, it's the same, but it's how you frame it. Or you've probably said, how can I help you? Because they know if you say, can I help you, people could say no. So they'll rephrase it, how can I help you? And I just say, no, you can't. That's your answer there. Or, this is my favorite. We're the worst, or we're the best team, but we are the 5th out of 5th. The 5th best team. All right. So how you frame it matters, and you'll notice framings on websites, right? And they might be trying to sway you one way or another. If you bought a car, you probably saw this, that little sticker on the car, or other, if you are from a haggling culture, stickers. So this isn't always the dark pattern if it's like at a local market, right? It's just haggling. But the anchor effect is you tend to rely on that first piece of info, and it's an anchor, and you move up or down from it. So next time you go for a job, you ask for the amount first. Anchor it high, and then let them come down, right? That's what you want to do. Pricing, interviewing, search results as well, right? That first one, be the first in the list. There's also a tie-in effect called primacy. You can anchor and prime someone for some things first by picking out that first number or that first thing to anchor, especially numbers. So you'll see stuff also like sneaking into the cart. Like I said, the warranty goes in there. So sometimes they do that. They'll anchor with, it's here, like 4 years. They'll do like a little spread to anchor you, something like that. Right. Another thing that happens, I love this one. People conflate time with space and distance. So West's Furniture in the US did an A/B testing where they ran an ad and they showed this lamp. And it was in an ad like this, where the lamp was in the left side of the advertisement space. They ran another for the B side, and the lamp was on the right side of the space, and otherwise the same stuff in there. Now, depending on the culture, if you're left to right reading or right to left, would depending on how people saw those lamps. It was the same exact lamp. However, people who saw left to right readers, if they saw the lamp on the left, it was seen as an antique. The same exact lamp was seen as a modern lamp in the B side of the testing when it was on the right. Because humans tend to see, if you're left to right reading, it goes the opposite if you read the other way. They conflate time with space and distance. Right? So that's one thing to consider when you do make, for your UX team, right? Where if you have any kind of time stuff, maybe you make project software, anything like to do with time, you might consider that, right? Another thing that happens is the mirror exposure effect. Politicians do this a lot. You tell a lie enough times and people believe it, right? And you'll see this on Amazon. You ever notice you go and you might see, like grandma's socks on Amazon, and maybe that's the brand, grandma's socks or something, and then you'll see it again and again, right? And you'll keep seeing that same thing. So here, like I have a toaster, right? So you'll see like this Bella toaster or an Amazon toaster, and then you keep scrolling and you'll see that same toaster again and again. That's on purpose, right? That's on purpose. You keep seeing it, and you're not paying it. Who's like sitting here all right, I'm actually sitting here counting this, but it's for the talk. Like I'm not normally this weird. No, I'm not. Really, I'm not. So here, right, like who's counting? Who's counting these toasters? Nobody. So who's like remembering which toaster they just saw? Nobody, right? Not normal people. So yeah, so they're counting on that. You see it again and again, you're gonna warm up to it. Along with stuff like, oh, shit. I have a browser up and it's showing toasters. AV people, I don't know what to do here. Wait. Nope. Okay, if you go to Amazon and type in toaster, you guys know what I'm talking about though, right? I brought up another screen and I don't actually see it on the slides now. So I can see, okay, that's weird. Okay, but if you do that, you'll see it repeated over and over again. You've been online before. I don't think I need to really go into more detail about that. So mirror exposure effect. Here's another A/B test, the wine A/B test. Take this nice wine. It doesn't matter what wine it is. Doesn't matter if it's good. Doesn't matter if it's cheap. Actually, it doesn't even have to be wine. It could be anything. So we have a wine, a little description of wine, and a price. We have the wine, the same wine, description of the wine, a price. There's only one difference that you could possibly notice here, right? And it makes a difference. So you probably could guess where this is going, right? Subconsciously, when people look at this, if they were to see one of those with the larger price and then one presented with a smaller font later, the one with the smaller font appears cheaper subconsciously. All right? That's on purpose when you see stuff like that. So when they did A/B testing, they found this out too. So you might see this. People conflate physical size of fonts or things in the real world with numerical size as well. All right? So, and all these things are subconscious. Most people aren't sitting there going, yes, I see these two prices. One is smaller. Clearly, the numbers are different. No, nobody does that. So this is what they do, right? The smaller price. If you list two things and one has a smaller price, you will see more sales for that thing in the basket, right? So we conflate that. Another one, the same wine. If you look at this difference, right, and you'll see this sometimes, like this used to be $5 million, now it's only 2 cents, right? If you put that old price really close, it doesn't look like it's a big discount. Move it away, it looks like a bigger discount, right? Because it went away, it's further away, clearly, right? Those numbers are the exact same. Right, 29 to 24. Same price, but you will get different effects if you run an A/B test with this, right? Another one, I have actually employed this on somebody in my family, right? The shape of your glass influences how much you drink. Yep, the shape of your plates and bowls. There was a test done with like a bowl with a fake bottom, and they kept feeding soup up through it, and people would eat more. And they would say, I'm still hungry. And other people would not, right, if they gave them a regular bowl. But we find out that the shape influences. So there's so many little things that just influence us. You don't think of it. We generally don't need to think about these things, right? You just have the glass of wine, right? But somebody else could be thinking about these things. right? And could be implementing them out there. So that is one phenomenon that happens. This is one of my favorites. At least in the USA, a lot of companies do this. They'll get this little, it's called an honor system snack. Anyone seen this at your company or school or something? So it'll be like a little snack box, and you put in a couple of coins. It's on the honor, right? You see the little, the little deposit coins here in the middle. So you go in and you drop your 50 or whatever cents in. But what happens is they get a break room and they put the box in there. And then people go, they didn't plan on going to get a snack. They're going to a friend's office or the bathroom, and then they go like, oh, they got the doodles in there, right? I gotta have my doodles. And they go, oh crap, I didn't bring change. All right, I'm just gonna grab it and I'll come back with the change, right? Fully intended to come back with the change, but you don't. This often happens. And then there will be people who are just like, yep, taking the skills, right? You have both. I'll be generous and say most everybody is just saying, I'll come back later and forgetting, right? We'll give them the benefit of the doubt. So how do you prevent people from doing this? Put a little picture of eyes over it. So they ran an experiment actually at a college about this. And they said you put a picture of eyes, and it was 80-20, like the numbers were, so many people go, it's just me, I'm the only one taking this one thing this one time. But when everybody does that, the numbers end up being like 82% of people on average take from this without putting the honor money in there. But you put a pair of eyes and it flips, and almost everybody, nearly 100, put the money in, right? So, or put a picture of my husband, and he's German, and we'll come and enforce the rule. So what are some alternatives here that we could do? All right. First off, I did mention this before. Talk to your lawyer, not Saul. All right. Talk to your lawyers. There's been lawsuits. Governments are noticing. The UK, FTC in the US. EU's getting on this, right? They're on this as well. LinkedIn got hit for 13 million, and they still pull some shenanigans with their notifications. Bad LinkedIn. Germany has the EU and Dark Patterns Act, and every day there's more and more lawsuits, right, with this. So unless you kind of have to go and explain to the team why you now have to rip apart your software because of a law, maybe consider this. Don't call Saul, but absolutely get your lawyer involved. They know about these things, right? And also ask, does this actually help? Right? How would I feel? Like, stick someone on your family. Like, go try to use this. Here's a great test. Just get a friend. Try to use this. Ask them one question. At any time, does this feel icky or yucky? Right? So you can do this even with a kid, right? And if they go yes, then good. Any part of it, it's probably a dark pattern. Because you do. You get the negative feeling like you're maybe wrong or doing something wrong, right? Or, no, I don't want to be healthy. And then you feel bad about it. Because it is about hijacking those click-word feelings. So dog food your product, right? And could it damage your reputation or clients, right? If you end up in here, you're doing it wrong. Amazon, EasyJet, Booking.com, all of you, right? Any travel site is doing that, right? Usually if they want to sell something or information, Facebook, LinkedIn, right? All of them. Yeah, I know, you don't always have budget. Do as much as you can here. If you can have an actual UX team and QA team, make sure you have them. Or a role, or anything. Dedicate as much as you can to this. Formal ethics committee. Do your focus groups, do your A/B testing, right? Keep up with your research. Actually, having a UX researcher helps as well, but I feel like that's stretching because, money and budgets and nobody gets any ever. So get what you can, right? So that you aren't implementing these patterns, right? Now, here's a lot of the sources for this. If you go to deceptive.design and growth.design, they have entire case studies. They lay out all the psych behind it. They have a lot of cool videos about it, and there's more and more samples. People just keep posting samples up there all the time of these things. So you can look and see what to avoid and how to properly and much better implement. Like, you can take all of these and make them light patterns and take people step by step through your software in a way that engages with them and makes them feel good, right? We actually strive for that. An IDE, you're not going to be able to put a lot of dark patterns in it. We're not doing info and we're not selling anything, but we try this for our IDEs even, right, to make that wonderful experience all the way through. And then even more about the actual Paul Bogue's talk, and he talks about the money, the costs of it later, ethics. Even ABC News got in on this, right? So people are noticing, and I know we care about our software, so we want to implement good patterns instead of dark ones. And that is what I got. So thank you.
Sure, folks, we have a few minutes for questions. Are there any questions about dark UX patterns? My personal favorite is the websites you go to when you're looking for open source software, and they sell banner adverts, which are just a huge green download button.
Yes.
And I've never worked out who's buying those adverts.
Right.
Like, what's the supply chain for all of this?
Right.
It's so weird. But yeah, once I've seen this talk before, and after I saw it in Poland last year, I just kept looking at all these websites going, Yep, there's one. Yep. There's one. There's another one. It's like Pokemon. You got to catch them all. So.
Yeah, sorry, you're going to notice this stuff now. Yeah, you're going to be more sorry, you're going to be more paranoid.